in Harvard and he was part of this Harvard Lampoon group. And he told me that they were inviting Rush, and Rush was going to come, and he wanted me to be there. And of course I freaked out. Part of me felt bad because my brother and my bass player, Matt, who also loved Rush just as much as I did, couldn't come. It was like one invite per person. But I was the most over the top, insane about Rush, so I got in. And sure enough, here they come, right? They're wearing, I think, tuxedos and stuff, and I got to spend some good time with Geddy.
Wow.
And Alex, and I told Alex, how much the music meant to me, and a few other things. And I told him I saw him on the Power Windows tour, when I was 10 years old, and he's like, "Don't say that," thinking that had been a long time ago.
Right.
I didn't necessarily get to spend quality time with Neil, which was something that I wish had happened differently.
Yeah.
But it was great to be there. And inside the Counterparts CD album cover, basically, there's a picture of the three of them holding up medallions. And I was seated right at that table, out of the frame. But it was a amazing time I'll never forget. But sure enough, they're just three guys who are happen to be amazing musicians and lifelong friends, and they're not outer space aliens at all.
That's good to know. Yeah, they strike you as that way. They'd either be laid back and cool or straight up dorks if you met them in person. But
yeah, it may be a little of both. But they are, they lit the candle, right? And for me, about music and being a musician and expressing through music. And it's been going ever since.
Cool.
Back to the question of guitar solos. There's a song called "The World Fictive" on my record that does not have a solo, but probably has the most Rush-like instrumental break of any of the tracks. In terms of its, I don't want to say lifting, but referencing the vibe of After Image, which is always one of my favorite instrumental breaks in Rush because of the build-up, right? You've got the pulsing four on the floor with the kick drum, and the little hi-hat is going, and then he alternates between the synth tom and the snare drum, and the chords are ringing out, and it ultimately manifests in this big solo that's all chord based and just fantastic. But the ambiance of that part, the keyboards and the synth bass and the drums and the guitar chords just changing out and kind of hanging there, man, it's just beautiful. Red Sector A is a little bit like that too, but I don't know. I just get off on that stuff, and so wherever I can make my own kind of atmospheric wonderland, I just am excited to do it.
Cool. Is that to do an intro and outro to the podcast? Would that want to be one of your selections?
Yeah, I love The World Fictive. The Hook is probably my favorite song, along with song To Be Real. I love them all for different reasons, and it's hard to say, but I think World Fictive is probably the most straight up Rush-like vibe. It's got a drum loop that's in 7, and the whole track is mostly in 4.
Yeah.
So when you hear the beat, it takes, I guess, 7 times through the repetition of the loop before it catches up to where you think the 1 should be.
I can't even compute that. Does that even line up? I'll trust you.
4 times. But yeah, the song is in 4, but the drum part is in 7. And the only reason it doesn't sound totally weird is because you've got 4 on the floor on the bass drum.
Right.
So the bass drum is going on all the quarter notes, and it's just different places where the open hat and the snare drum hit that create the sort of accents. But yeah, that's a great song for Rush fans to get into. I think anybody that really loves Rush would enjoy this music because I approach each instrument, almost from the point of view, what would the guy in Rush do? And I can't necessarily do it all, but I come at it from that point of view, and yet it doesn't sound hopefully like a complete ripoff.
No, I don't think it does. Like I said, only if someone were to find you through this avenue of being a Rush fan first and then looking for like-minded artists, I think would they make the obvious connection on, the songwriting, the rhythmic and harmonic textures, and also the solos. But I think if someone came cold, they'd just say, "Hey, there's some really interesting indie prog rock."
Cool. Yeah, I mean, one of the things about Rush that is really unique, I guess, is the lyrics, right? And the Vapor Trails record, it seemed to me, at least, was so wildly different from the Test for Echo and the previous set of recordings, because of the directness and the personal nature. Of course, Neil had his tragedies, but songs like Ghost Rider and Vapor Trail and Secret Touch and Sweet Miracle, they are so moving and in such a direct way that it almost seems like an entirely different band. If you go back and listen to some of the more, sort of intellectual music like Alien Shore from Counterparts, and he's saying sex is not a competition, and these kinds of puzzling intellectual themes. But it's just so radically different when you hear a song like Secret Touch. The way out is the way in, and it's just, oh my God, it's mind blowing. And that growth, and the fact that he was willing to make such a personal statement, is, I'm sure, very healing for him, but for all the fans that love the band and love him, and just as a songwriter, I found that to be just transformational.
Pretty shocking.
Yeah.
I never caught that. That's a good quote, though. Out through the in-hole. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Creepy. Cool. Well, listen, I want to thank you for spending the time with me. What I'm going to do, like I promised, I think I'll pick out those the World Fictive, that tune, and maybe I'll give the whole album another listen, and pick out another tune with your permission. We'll include it in the podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
Cool. And I will let you know when this is published. It'll be on iTunes, the site. And actually, this is the maiden voyage for the screencast edition. So,
oh, fantastic!
I'll throw it out on YouTube, and hopefully it won't crash and burn.
That's great. Well, yeah, I'm trying to get as many people to visit my Averch.bandcamp page as I can. So if they can click through on your site, that'd be huge.
Absolutely. Let's do a link exchange. And so, is that the place? Is that the place you want to funnel people through, or you want to plug any other?
That's the place. That's the Averch.com is there, but it's just kind of generic information about me, and all the music is on the Bandcamp page.
Okay.
So if people want to hear it or want to transact, you're even better, right? That's the way to do that.
Cool.
I'm curious to listen to your stuff now. I did not know about your sort of classically trained guy doing rock.
Yeah, well, it's a long story, but still retain some of those bad influences of classical, straight up composition. So yeah, definitely take a listen. Let's exchange emails. Put me on your list, I'll put you on mine, and I'll let you know as soon as this thing is published.
Hey man, I appreciate it so much. Thanks for taking the time, and thanks for listening to the record.
I'll leave you with a full track from Ben's latest album, Fortune Cookie. It's the same one we started off with. It's called Love Me Anyway. Thanks for joining.
It's not the sun that's setting, it's just that you are spinning away from the way that you were sure to feel, from the sense that always kept you real. It's not a dream that's dying, it's just a world that's opening up to a place you always feel. life you're living. It's just the waiting to begin again and hope to see things new when all your past won't follow you in a new incarnation. There's only joy for you to find towards a new day rising green and demons exercised. It's all gone. In the darkness I can hear you say that you always thought you'd